Yeah, I love that a lot, and it just just seeing the interaction that the community has had along the way, it really just shows how well thought out and executed you guys have been doing everything, and how immersive it's been to really dive into the the new, I guess, in this quote metaverse that you guys are building out for everyone to be involved in too, in a certain sense. And you talked a lot about community building, and really growing that out in this instance. And you already dived into a few other things I wanted to touch upon in my second question. So I'll backtrack a little bit and go from there. So when it does come to building out a long term vision, like you guys have been doing, and the approaches that your team has been making have been really interesting, right? Like you said before, you split up your mint into four different phases, and like you said, and those who are unfamiliar, the first phase right now is a Scabland set. Um, you're building your long-term goals into a movie, right? That is supplemented with smaller but exciting events in each phase. And each of the phases right now, they have their own roadmap, which is very interesting and something I haven't seen in many other projects too. So, you know, without the vision wouldn't be possible without a strong core community in this instance. So, I and the rest of the team and everyone else in here was wondering, what has been the most effective and least effective strategies you've seen so far of building communities in this space for the long term?
Yeah, no, totally. So, I mean, just first to note, like, splitting our mint into four pieces, it was very much like a reaction to the bear market. Like, we got in this thinking we were going to do a traditional 10K mint because people were doing that and it was working. And then all of a sudden it wasn't. And so we had to step back and, think, all right, do we just like delay until the market gets better? Do we do something else? And it allowed us though to actually ask ourselves, well, wait a minute. If we weren't just kind of copying someone else's model, what would we do? What would be the model that actually reflects our project and our ambitions? And that's where we came up, with the four phases because we'd already actually built our NFT collection into these four geographic, regions. So we just split it up along those lines. And it actually made it easier to talk about and communicate what our project was because I don't know, we almost had our roadmap was almost too big. It was almost like too detailed that like it was just hard to take in or you just didn't think we could pull it off because we were saying we were going to do so many things. And so when you break it down into smaller pieces, it feels a lot more immediate and tangible. And for us, it's just like NFTs are like what I love about NFTs is that they can be multiple things at once. And what everyone's really familiar with is that they're collectibles. But what I want to, start stressing and making a bigger deal about is that you're also essentially buying sort of kind of like season tickets to, a program of content. And that's what the phases make really clear is that, this first mint funds we don't have the definitive number yet, but it's going to be like 3 or 4 months of like fringe content, and that's stuff happening, every week. Like it's like a full. There's always something to duck in and do and interact with, and like buying your drifter is essentially like subscribing to that content, while at the same time being this really cool, collectible. So each phase is going to have like one of these sort of programs, like again like in the Scablands we're building out this cool alien desert world. There's all these like cool NFTs and objects that are going to be built along those themes. We have stories that are being told. Often they interact with airdrops. As a storyteller, it's been really fun to sort of figure out the power of airdrops because you drop something in someone's wallet and then they want to know what it is. It's, I feel like I'm about to go down a rabbit hole, but I've been doing a lot of thinking about NFTs as like why, like not just as like a commodity, because that part is, I think what most of the conversation is about, but NFTs as like a storytelling narrative, like media, like why do they compete with like all the other media out there, and the like collectability, like again that like psychological desire once you own a little bit of something, once you have something in your wallet to like to have that be the starting point of a story is really unique and really exciting. And we've messed around with that a little bit. We airdrop like, what are called scenes from The Fringe, and they're like these really beautiful, like cool, almost like Twitter banner single frames of like a story. And it's just like this cool piece of art, but now you like own it, and then you're like, well, what's the story? And then we get to tell that story, and then that makes the NFT even more meaningful, like to you. I mean, if you're wanting to build like, collectibles that actually people give a shit about, it's like put them in a universe, put them in a story. Man, what was the question?
Yeah, no, no, you've been hitting it on the head so far, but I'll say it again. The question was, with the long-term vision, it wouldn't be really possible without a strong core community. So, what have you seen like so far that has been the most effective and the least effective strategies in terms of building that community for the long term?
Yeah, gotcha. I part of it is like, and this is where I feel like I'm unhelpful to potentially other people in the space, in that, the kind of community we've built is the only kind of community I know how to build, which is like, I'm a sci-fi nerd. I'm into really specific special interests, and those are the people like I'm finding my tribe, and they're the ones that want to like hang out and build this world with me. It's just really organic. I'm honestly pretty bad at sort of the like viral tweet, do something that makes a lot of noise and gets a lot of attention really, briefly. Our project is kind of a slow growth one. We thought we sort of launched, I think, in January, and we thought we'd mint in a few months, but we really needed like 6 months to fully like understand the space. And in that time, we just kind of kept putting out the things we thought were cool, and they attracted the people, um, that think like us, that like the same things that we do. And that's who is in our community. And one thing that everyone kind of points out is like, oh my gosh, like people are really holding on to your NFTs. Like it's been very, very stable since the mint, which really, I think if you've been following along with us, shouldn't be a surprise at all, because the bear market sort of, I think, scared away a lot of the speculators, and the people that stuck around are the ones, who really believe in what we're doing, and who are really excited about what we're doing, and who aren't finding, um, the flavor of what we're doing out in the rest of the world with, what's available. It's like we're offering, a very specific experience, and kind of subgenre of sci-fi that, people want to be a part of. And so luckily, we sold out our first mint. Um, and yeah, I think right now our strategy is the same. It's like we're going to spend the next few months now like taking those funds and like making really cool stuff, and we'll just keep putting it out and hopefully attracting new people and growing this really kind of hardcore community.
So, to that, I think, you know, one of the main things that I see, that you guys have done, and I think it as well, is the niche, right? Having something that's so unique and differentiated, and having that community, like that's, we were talking about that a couple podcasts back about, having niche communities, and really about how that can help with engagement, right? Because everybody is there for a common purpose. And then having the content and the airdrops, like the HODLnomics, which we'll be getting to later on in the discussion, and the truth, the genuine experience. And I think what I hear, even the slow growth, I mean, all these things that you're saying, I'm getting like so excited. I'm gonna look much much deeper into your collection and really dance with you guys, because that's what we're going for, the experience, and having like tickets to an experience. We really all the way around. Oh man, like you definitely are speaking our languages, music to my ears. And
Cool.
yeah, you guys got it.
Yeah, like that's something where again, like we've talked about how you guys have been just taking your time with a lot of stuff, and like a lot of the projects that come our way, or that we've seen in the past, even just from the research. I mean, a lot of them just don't take a lot of preparation, and especially if we talk about our last one with Signal, which is what's up. I see you guys down there. The last one podcast that we did, we talked about like the marketing from months back to how it's different from now, right? And again, like it was less of a preparation back then because you can get away with saying a lot more and not really fulfilling on it. And it's a much different now that the market's changed the way it is and it's more mature in certain
It
aspects.
drove me insane.
Yeah, yeah. I think it drove everyone insane. Yeah, it's
I
crazy.
mean, at some point when I'm feeling a little more confident, I feel like I'm really just gonna like go after a lot of projects that just really made my blood boil, because it was just like you had marketing and branding
Yep.
experts making really really shiny facades with literally zero substance behind them. And
It's
I
crazy because oh, sorry for cutting you off. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just gonna say, like, like, not gonna name names because it's not an invalid strategy to like put a bunch of flash out, raise a bunch of money, and then figure out what you are. But it's just the antithesis of who I am, and to be like try to be a little more humble here. Like, our brand needs an upgrade. The way our project is honestly a little confusing. It's dense. It's layered. We need to do a better job of making it accessible. But if anything, what worries me about the space is that we all know who they are, but like a lot of these projects that like just had a meteoric instant rise, raised just insane amounts of money without a real tangible, like substantive, like spine, like built in. And I think a bunch of them are going to come crashing down because money ultimately can't buy substance. Where it's like our project too, honestly, and this I'm not bragging, I'm to a point, it's almost to a fault, is like all substance. And we need to do a better job at being flashy and putting the billboards out. But yeah, I think if anything, we're a project that's going to do okay in the bear market, because when people dig in, they find that there's a lot to chew on.
Yeah, exactly right. And like also the fact that again, like you're activating the community in such different aspects and really getting them engaged and invested, like not only just like in the NFT himself, but in the story and the whole environment and universe that you're building out to begin with, right? And I think a lot of projects who are looking to build out their universe for the years to come should look into following these aspects, because starting the communities like in the beginning stages too. I mean, there's always like if you look at it from like a graph standpoint, there's always a certain point where it needs a lot of push and a lot of manpower in the beginning to really get things going, and then it at that certain point it breaks off and it's very uh there's a lot of community members that can help fulfill a lot of the work that the team has been doing in the first place, right? Like you can start to see it start to manage itself in that way. So you guys are starting to get there, honestly, and at a very good pace. And you guys have been doing this, like you said, in an organic and slow manner, which um, you see that a lot in the spaces of like very quick, like build up community quick in like this amount of time, and let's do this, let's do that. So yeah, just I don't know if Steven, if you want to add anything. I saw you unmute beforehand, but
Yeah, for sure. Real quick, I just wanted to throw in that, when I what I see with you guys at the Fringe and how you're building the community that's in it for the long term, is you're really giving that hands-on experience back to the investors where it feels like, not only are we a part of something that feels revolutionary, like we are going to, take over the space with something that's so unique and just awesome. And I feel like you said, there's so much substance that once people actually get into that and read the lore, read everything behind it, and once you figure out certain things, like there's little symbols in your NFT that have lore behind them, and you can go to the compendium and read more about it and develop a story. And yeah, it's very unique, and having that hands-on experience allows for people to feel like they have control in the direction of the project, which I feel is super important in this space. And I think you guys have done a really great job so far with that aspect as well.